Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to the Business Forum, co-hosted by the CAN ASEAN Partners Association. My name is Chak Lau. I'm also a Richmond City Councillor. I'm here to welcome you all, and I will be the moderator for today's event. As I mentioned, this is a forum to open up dialogue and communication between business people in Richmond, in Canada, and also to explore opportunities provided in Vietnam for the Canadian business people. So as I mentioned, the event is co-hosted by CAN ASEAN Partners Association, which is CAPA in short. And this association is just newly formed, and the objective of this association is to promote business opportunities and other cultural, economic, or educational exchange between Canada and the ASEAN countries. So the forum is one example of what these organizations will do, which is to provide forums and platforms for us to get into deeper communication and dialogue. And today, I think we are very fortunate that we have many most appropriate and most qualified speakers to address our forum and to share their experience and information. So I just want to, at this time, want to thank our MLA, Aman Singh, who's also the Parliamentary Secretary for Environment of the provincial government. And of course, we have to welcome Consul General from Vietnam in Vancouver, Mr. Nguyen. And also we have Bill Tao, which represents a province in Vietnam. And also we have another person who will be sharing her successful story in doing business in Vietnam. So basically, this is the content of today's forum. But before I go on to provide some background about the business situation in Vietnam, I just want to mention that so we have coffee and tea, I believe, at the back. And if you need to go to the washroom, you can just go out to the go of this room and then turn right, and then you can find the men's and the women's washroom. Okay, so kick off the forum, I just want to share some of my personal experience in to kick off this event. So my attention to the region began in 2014. At that time, it was also the setting up of the Vietnamese Consul General in Vancouver. And I got an opportunity to get to know some of the diplomats in the Asian region. Now, of course, at that time, people were mainly focused on China. And of course, at that time, the whole world was paying attention to the opportunities and the development in China. However, at that time, I already got a feeling that, we should not just look at one place, one country. Diversification is always a good strategy for doing business. And at that time, I'm trying to look at which is the next fastest growing region in the world. And of course, I noticed that probably ASEAN country is the next development focused. So in 2014, I had the opportunity to invite the diplomats from 5 ASEAN countries: Vietnam, Thailand, Philippines, Indonesia, and Malaysia to visit Richmond. And that provides them with some understanding of what Richmond as a city can offer, and also opens up the communication since then. Now, at that time, my understanding is very simple. I felt that, yes, China was important, but at the same time, for ASEAN countries, they have a population of 700 million people. And I think this is huge in terms of a market or supply of resources and human labor. So that's why I think, okay, this must be a very important place that we should draw our attention to. And then in 2015, November, I had the opportunity to join the provincial government delegation to Vietnam. So at that time, it's being led by the former Minister for International Trade, Teresa Watt. So we went there, and then we met with the city government of Ho Chi Minh City, and also the business associations and many other people. And that's the first time I was exposed to the rapid development and huge opportunities in Vietnam. And since then, I returned four more times to Vietnam with business delegations from Richmond. And the most recent one is in just past June, just a few weeks ago, I was in Vietnam. And I have also received many delegations from Vietnam. And since then, I've witnessed the growth of business between Richmond and other cities in Vietnam. And the trade was mainly in rice, seafood, and other agricultural products. However, I believe that there are many more. In January 2020, there was a Ho Chi Minh City Clean Agricultural Products Association visiting Richmond in Canada. And under the help of the Consul General of Vietnam in Vancouver at the time, an agreement was signed between this association and the Richmond Business Association. And with the hope that we can open up more doors and to promote more business opportunities. But unfortunately, because of the pandemic, so everything stopped. But I think this is the right time for us to reopen the relationship and to explore further the opportunities that are ahead of us. And I believe that timing now is better than ever, because for a few reasons. I think that the COVID actually taught us a lesson that diversification is so important. We cannot put all our eggs in one basket. And the difficulties that we experienced during the pandemic in the supply chain and many logistics matters just confirm that we need to diversify, no matter in market or in supply of resources. And secondly, the time now is right because the Canadian government is on board. In November last year, the federal government launched the Indo-Pacific strategy. And the federal government is going to invest a lot of resources to promote Canada in the ASEAN countries. And also, the provincial government is also joining the federal government in promoting BC in many ASEAN countries, including Vietnam. Furthermore, Vietnam has become more open than a few years ago. So everything tells us that this is the right time to get into the market in ASEAN countries, including Vietnam. Now, why do we have this forum today? It's because, from my observation, there's a gap here. In order to promote better business between the two countries. There's a gap. We need more opportunities to get to know each other and to oh, I forgot to show you some pictures. Then we do that. Is it like this? Okay. Well, those only some of the old pictures in 2015 when I was in Vietnam. So anyway, now in all these years, my experience is that the business people from the two countries do not know about each other enough. So many people knows about the opportunity in Vietnam. However, there's no in-depth, or I would say there's not enough in-depth knowledge about the market and how to do business in Vietnam and vice versa. So when you go to Vietnam and then you talk about Canada, probably the people don't know very much about Canada. And likewise, we don't know very much about Vietnam. And when I was there last time, I spoke with the Canadian Chamber of Commerce in Ho Chi Minh City. And they told me that they have a survey among their members in Canada. And while many of their members talk about doing business in Vietnam, only 3% actually did it. Actually, operate some kind of business in Vietnam. And the major obstacle is that the 97% felt that they don't know the market enough. So that's why I hope that a forum like this can help to bridge the gap. And also, when I was in Ho Chi Minh City in last December, I visited the Ministry of Investment and Planning. And to my surprise, that they told me that in year 2022, from January to November, the direct investment from Canada to Ho Chi Minh City was only 9.8 million US dollars. 9.8 million US dollars. And the total direct investment from Canada in the past 10 years was only 0.45% of the total foreign investments in Ho Chi Minh City. So that tells us there's a gap. But it also tells us that there's lots of opportunity. If we can increase the percentage and the volume of investment in Ho Chi Minh City, I mean, we will be very blessed. So with that, I would like to invite MLA Aman Singh to say a few words about the provincial government's initiatives in Vietnam. So let's welcome Aman.
Thank you so much, Chuck, for the introduction. And thank you, everybody, for being here. My name is Aman Singh. I'm the MLA for Richmond, Queens Road. That's East Richmond and New Westminster. And I'm also the Parliamentary Secretary for Environment and Climate Change, British Columbia. I'll start off by saying that I'm on the traditional territories of the Coast Salish people. We should always acknowledge that we're there and try and do everything that we can in terms of reconciliation. Vietnam has always made sense to me. As I was speaking with the Honorable Consul General here, letting him know that I've actually spent some time in Vietnam. Prior to becoming an MLA, I was a lawyer. In that role, I did some business in the north, in Hanoi and in Haiphong, and got the opportunity to go to Halong Bay as well. If I'd known we had pictures, I would have brought some pictures as well to show. And also in my capacity as a lawyer, I represented a company, quite a large company from the United States, Zomad. It's a leading edge advertising company and we employed a whole team of software developers in Ho Chi Minh City. And that's one of the things that we were speaking about. Vietnam has so many opportunities, just like British Columbia. There's a lot of connections between Vietnam and Canada, and especially British Columbia. One of the main connections is the people, right? There are so many people of Vietnamese origin here in British Columbia that have family back home and that would love to see this business. So recognizing that and recognizing, as Chuck said, that we really, at this juncture in time after COVID, recognize that we have to diversify our trade and not rely on our main partner. Almost all of our trade is, not surprisingly, with the United States. And with the closing of borders, with the talk of buying their own things, with the constant softwood lumber wars that we have, and then also with China, but it's apparent that we have to diversify, and the province recognizes that. And last year, our Minister of Jobs and Economic Recovery, Ravi Kalon, traveled to Vietnam and opened our first Forest Innovation Investment Office in Vietnam. And then we followed that with a trade mission to the ASEAN countries last month, where the Premier went with several ministers, including our Minister of State for Trade, Jagrup Brar, and we opened a trade and investment office in Ho Chi Minh. So we have, British Columbia has, this is our way of showing that, look, we're interested in doing business and we see a lot of potential. Vietnam is one of the leading producers of furniture in the world, and we here have an abundant supply of sustainable forestry products, and so we see that as an opportunity. But that's not just it. We see the trade mission was really sent out with the eye to look at clean energy, to look at agri-tech, to look at other opportunities that there are, and to promote, to look at that possibility, because we see that possibility. And as Chuck said, the pie is this small, but all that means to me is that opportunity is this large, and that there really is an opportunity to increase the trade with Vietnam. And that's what we're hoping to do. The Trade and Investment Office in Ho Chi Minh City and the Forest Innovation Investment Office in the other city, they're there to help assist, because we do have to. Sometimes one of the issues that people, I was lucky because I had Vietnamese partners, right? Very prominent Vietnamese partners from Hanoi, who were also lawyers, so they worked in the same field as me, and so I was able to translate and be able to work in business. And that's really what you need. Not everybody is that lucky, and that's essentially why we have the Trade and Investment Office. It's for the British Columbia government to be able to help British Columbians navigate Vietnam, and vice versa, to help Vietnamese companies navigate British Columbia. So if you are interested in doing business in Vietnam, or you're a Vietnamese company interested in doing business with us in British Columbia, we will help you. Right, we will help you start off that business. We will help you navigate through the various bureaucracies, whether they're in Vietnam, with our partners in Vietnam, our government partners here in Vietnam, or if you're a Vietnamese company, we'll help you navigate the structures here. So we're very excited for this venture, and we really see Vietnam as a massive potential, not only in the things that I talked about, not only in forestry, not only in clean energy, agri-tech, but Vietnam is also a leading, as I said earlier, leading supplier of software developers for the world. And very few people know this, right? That because of the incredible education system that there is there, Vietnam produces some of the best software developers in the world. So this company that I spoke about, Zomat, it's a Los Angeles-based company, and they did a search all over the world. So what they do is they do sort of social media advertising for very large clients like Coca-Cola, Nestle, very, very large multinational clients, Cargill, and they searched all over the world for software developers that were able to, give them what they needed, and they found them in Vietnam. So another thing, shipbuilding, another thing that we have in common, because we have this massive coastline, just like Vietnam. There's a lot of similarities. So again, I'm really excited at the prospect. I'm hoping that I'll get to visit Vietnam pretty soon as well. And thank you for inviting me.
So thank you, Aman. So as you can tell, the provincial government is also trying to strengthen the relationship between the two countries, at least, for British Columbia. And I think BC and Richmond is geographically well located to make that kind of connection. And so we mentioned about the opportunities, but I think in order to really to materialize the benefits of those opportunities, I think we need to have the knowledge, we need to the relationship, we need to have the channels that we can be connected. So with that, I'm very happy to have the Consul General of Vietnam in Vancouver to be main speaker for today. And of course, we will speak from the government perspective and officially how we can promote trade between the two places. And in particular, he would explain how his office can help. I think the provincial government is going to help, the federal government is going to help, but to get onto the ground, we also need the help from the Vietnamese partners. So with that, I would like to let's welcome Mr. Quang Trung, the Consul General from Vietnam in Vancouver. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mr. Aman Singh, for your kind words about Vietnam and Vietnam-Canada relation. It's just recently, this month, we have so many, we don't know why, but in 1 month, we have so many visiting delegation from Vietnam. And we organized many activities, including seminars, forums during this time. One delegation from Ho Chi Minh City just concluded the visit in the BC, and now they're in Toronto, and one delegation from Hanoi, and one delegation from Khánh Hòa will be coming very soon. So we think this type of activities is good to promote Vietnam in ASEAN, in Canadian eyes. As Mr. Chagao mentioned, that even though we have a good relation, this year we celebrate a 50 year of diplomatic relation. But still, especially the business community should know more about each other. In Vietnam, the tourism board, they have one advertisement called Vietnam, a hidden beauty. But it's some years ago. But we think that we should introduce Vietnam more quickly. So the beauty will not be hidden, but it will be open to people to discover. So we are very happy today to receive and to speak with you on this occasion. First of all, on behalf of the Consulate General of Vietnam in Vancouver, I would like to thank Mr. Chagao and Mr. Aman Singh and the CPA for organizing this event. I think this type of event will help the business community from both sides to understand more about each other. And it's very good that the business communities in BC, in Richmond, can understand about the business environment and how to do business successfully in Vietnam. And I think from the Vietnamese side, we just think this is the beginning, because we need to convince the investors and to make them to believe that what they will do in Vietnam is a success. It takes time, and it takes efforts from both sides. But on a very significant note, the forum being held in this year, celebrating 50 years of diplomatic relation between the two countries. We hope that it will contribute to promote the finally comprehensive relationship between the two countries and between Vietnam and Richmond. Vietnam is becoming an attractive investment destination for foreign investors, an emerging market and manufacturing powerhouse. The government of Vietnam continues a strong commitment to improving investment and business environment in a more favorable, transparent, and competitive way. And Vietnam has now played a key part in global and regional supply chains. The CPTPP, in 2021, the BC government held a forum about CPTPP, opportunities of doing business in Vietnam. And I remember that even it's during the pandemic, but the forum attracted many investors to come and to study. Because CPTPP now is a trading bloc representing 495 million people with a combined GDP of 13.5 trillion Canadian dollar and a full 13.5% of global GDP. And we think that it has brought in new opportunities for our economic, trade, and investment relation. But the understanding of the people, the business community from both sides, we think that we should promote it, because during the forum, I remember that many people still ask about CPTPP. They lack the knowledge of it. And you know, Vietnam is now considered as a FTA center in Asia Pacific with 15 FTAs, one of the 10 most open to trade economies in the world, and a bridge for Canadian goods and services to get access to ASEAN market, as Mr. Jack already mentioned, is a market of nearly 700 million customers. And taking the import tax advantage, the made in Vietnam products will gain better access into Canadian market. And at the same time, Vietnam could be a potential destination for Canadian businesses to think of when seeking a new supply chain amid and after the pandemic. And being a member of CPTPP, Canadian goods will enjoy Vietnam favorable import tax. This is an advantage of Canada compared with other CPTPP non-members, especially the goods that Vietnam has been imposing high most favored nation taxes, such as pork, aquaculture products. So now, to give you a general idea about Vietnam business environment and how to do business successfully in Vietnam, I would like to invite you to follow a document about investment opportunities in Vietnam, prepared by Ministry of Planning and Investment of Vietnam. And Mr. Binh, representative of Becamex Binh, will also give you some update information relating to business environment in Vietnam, and also the business promotion policy by the government of Vietnam. So we hope that we cannot give you everything in one meeting, but this is the start. And later on, we can get you the information, and also the agencies, the appropriate agencies that can reply your questions, to know more about Vietnam. I will. This is okay. So I will give you the general idea, general information. If you need the information from this PowerPoint, I can give it to you. It is for information. So for the FDI at the moment, by countries and territories, you can see from the slide. Korea now is the biggest FDI in Vietnam, and then followed by Singapore, Japan, Taiwan, Hong Kong, China, and British Virgin Islands, the Netherlands, Thailand, Hungary, and other countries. So Canada is in the other countries, no? So that is what we should bring Canada somewhere here. So and that is by industries and by provinces. So by industries, you can see the manufacturing is the biggest one, and followed by the real estate and other areas. And by provinces, you know, in Vietnam we have more than 60 provinces, and Ho Chi Minh City is the biggest one that attract FDI. And we just have the business forum held by Ho Chi Minh City. Ho Chi Minh City is the economic hub of Vietnam, and it's very dynamic. That's one of the reasons why BC decided to establish the BC representative office within the Consulate General of Canada in Ho Chi Minh City, and followed by Binh, Mr. Binh Dao, representatives of Binh, Becamex, and Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam, and other provinces. And Vietnam is considered as an attractive investment destination. Why you should invest in Vietnam? First is it has a stable social political environment. This is very important for investors when they invest in other countries. And second is a steady and rapid economic growth, especially before the pandemic. Of course, during the pandemic, every country is faced with difficulties. But last year, Vietnam still recorded 8.03% in GDP. That was very amazing. And third is competitive production cost and the abundant human resources, the golden population structure. The population Vietnam, we have a young population and very eager for development. You know? And as I mentioned, that many investors from countries like Japan, Korea, they mentioned that the Vietnamese people, many of the Vietnamese people, they are very good at mathematics, you know? And this is one of the reasons that it is a good foundation for development. And the significant domestic market. You know, Vietnam now, we have 100 million people. Sometimes we just think a small country, much smaller than Canada, but we have 100 million, while Canada, a very big country, but has only 40 million. So that is something we also can complement with each other. And highly integrated economy, as we mentioned, and of course, Vietnam has a strategic geopolitical location. This is not something we created, but it is there by nature. And of course, Vietnam is the member of 15 FTA, so the country is very open to world economy. And this is the assessment of some international organization. Vietnam ranked 44 over 194 countries in the Global Innovation Index, and the other figure you can see there. And we have a very competitive labor cost, and it compared with other countries. No, you can see that, and this one, Mr. Binh now can have some more concrete information for you, and. And Vietnam, it is located in the area that is very easy to get access to other parts of the world. No? So it is very easy for doing business. And of course, as I mentioned, we have 15 signed FTAs with other countries and organizations. And the government have issued various investment promotion strategy policies. No, this during the pandemic, we have a lot of measures. No? And for the sectors that the government encourage FDI, you can see like ICT, renewable energy, nanotechnology, and pharmaceuticals, high-tech agriculture. I think high-tech agriculture, agri-tech, it is one of the areas that BC could promote the relationship. And digital economy. You know, Vietnam is we are latecomer. No, we are latecomer compared with the developed countries. No, and other countries because of our history. Well, that's why the government is very eager to use make use of the technology and to catch up and to cut short the development. So I think this area, Canada and BC and Richmond could cooperate with Vietnam. And the government have various investment incentives, like corporate income tax incentive, exemption of import tax, and elimination, reduction of land use fee, and various measures. Here we mentioned about the decision in 2021, decision number 29, by the Prime Minister regarding the special incentives for the large-scale projects with great impacts on social economic developments and public projects. And I think if this is for the big companies, for the potential investors with a huge resource, I think, yeah, if you can meet with these criteria, is beneficial for both sides. And there is the special investment incentives also for the large-scale investment projects. This is the normal one, and that is a special incentives. I don't go into details, but you can know if you want to study about that. And there is also special incentives in some concrete projects. And to attract FDI, Vietnam has been attracting FDI for many years now, and those who come at this time, it's not late, but it doesn't mean that this is the the first FDI investors. But still, you have a chance because from the country like a developed country like Canada, there's a lot of chance that you can do in Vietnam, and the government has been doing a lot of preparation to receive new FDI inflow. The FDI now is different with the FDI in the past, no? Because in the past we focus a lot on infrastructure, but now FDI is like another development stage, no? And just like the government has set up the industrial real estate and infrastructure, the human resource training, the energy, and to promote supporting industry, and to develop a more incentivized and favorable investment framework, and to set up task force to support investment projects. You can see the address of the the task force at the end of the slide. No? And you know, to prepare, we also have a lot of industrial parks and special economic zones. We have 395 industrial parks ready for the new investors. And nowadays we have 291 industrial parks in operation with a total area of 87,000 hectares. And Mr. Binh Dao from Binh province, it is just like a city of industrial park. No? He can give you more information about this. And about human resources, no? We also have a preparation. We have a lot of vocational education institutions, a lot of colleges, intermediate schools, vocational education centers, no? And yeah, in a lot of areas. And in this area alone, no? Not only to prepare to receive the FDI, but education and the cooperation between educational institutions between Vietnam and BC and Vietnam and Canada. Also a very potential area of cooperation. In 2021, the Ministry of Planning and Investment, Ministry of Training and Education of Vietnam empowered me to sign with the government of BC an MOU on education cooperation and two-way exchange between Vietnam and BC. And for the first time, they mentioned about the Canadian offshore school in Vietnam. So if you work in the education sector, I think it is one of the area you can think of. The government also have a promotion investment policy in supporting industries. Yes. So is in the area of electrics, automobile, textile, and leather, shoes, etc. And so and in under the Ministry of Planning Investment of Vietnam, there's an organization called FIA. No? It is a foreign investment agency. They are specialized in supporting the foreign investors to know about business environment in Vietnam and to do business successfully in Vietnam. And they have the address here. You can have the address. And besides them, of course, the Consulate General of Vietnam is ready to provide you with necessary information. Now, relating to Vietnam-BC relations, following Mr. Aman Singh's information, I would like to say that against the finally existing political relationship background, our economic, trade and investment relations have also seen rapid developments. In 2022, last year, even heavily affected by the pandemic, but two-way trade volume between Vietnam and BC still reached 2.5 billion Canadian dollar. And Vietnam has become BC's 10th largest export destination. And Vietnam's main exports to BC consist of mobile phones, electronic products, textiles, furniture, metal, bicycles, motorcycles, parts, accessories, etc. And BC main exports to Vietnam include coal, wood products, metal scrap, pork, aquaculture, fruits. In Vietnam, people like Canadian and BC fruits very much, especially blueberry. They think that is very good for heart. They consume a lot. And the people here only meet 20% of the demand. So I think you should speed up your production and supply to Vietnam. So I think that's one of the reasons why the BC government decided to establish the representative office in Ho Chi Minh City, and together with the FII office in Binh province. Where I met with the BC dignitaries, including from BC Premier, Mr. Honorable EB, to various ministers, and they are very supportive of the economic development between the two countries. So in general, the BC and Vietnam economic trade investment relations are getting on well, but as Mr. Chak Ao mentioned, it's still not compatible with our potential. And now it's time to place it on higher plane. And there exist opportunities for our business to cooperate on various areas, as we mentioned, not only food, aquaculture, agri-tech, wood, but also on the areas like energy, labor, education, tourism, and the area that the government of Vietnam encourage the foreign investors to come to explore. So I think it's a time for us to go to promote it. And in this connection, I would like to stress that due to the level of development and concrete conditions from both sides, and because the types of products and customers differ, our economic relationship is of complementary nature, not competitive. One vivid example of this is the wood. BC has abundant resource of wood. You send it, export it to Vietnam, and Vietnam now is the second largest furniture manufacturer in the world. We make your wood to become the beautiful furniture and resold it into North American market, including Canada. So it is a win-win relationship. So that's why you decided to establish a FII office in Vietnam. So I believe that other speakers like Binh will speak objectively to Canadian business about doing business in Vietnam. And with the hardworking human resources of nearly 100 million people, with stable political environment, high economic growth, open trade, investment policy, competitive production costs, improved infrastructure, Vietnam is eager for further development. And on behalf of the government and people of Vietnam, I would like to welcome you to Vietnam to do business successfully and to understand more about our country and people. Not only doing business, but to see Vietnam, to know about the people. In the end, your success is our success. The Consulate General of Vietnam in Vancouver is ready to provide you necessary information when requested. Finally, thank you very much. And I wish Mr. Aman Singh, Mr. Chuck Ao, and all of you present here good health and every success. Thank you.
Well, I think the Consul General provide us with very important information, and I think we should give him another round of applause because we know that he has been very, very busy. So as he mentioned, he just received a delegation from Ho Chi Minh City only 2 days ago, and then now he's receiving another delegation from Hanoi. So, I mean, he's just squeezing his time to entertain our request. So I think thank you very much once again. But I think you should point out that there's so much potential in Vietnam that sometimes we are not even aware of. Do you know that Vietnam is now exporting electric cars to Canada? Right? We don't know that. But, you know, it tells you, you know, that the advancement of the technology, the production, and with many other things. Now, before I invite Bill Tao, you know, the next speaker, to come up to speak, we want to show you some concrete examples of people doing business in Vietnam and has been successful. So that we are not just talking about abstracts, we want to show you a video from a person or a company who has been doing business in Vietnam for many years, and they are going to share their experience. So with that, I want to ask you to play the video.
Xin chào các quý vị, xin chào tất cả những nhà đầu tư thông thái. Tôi tên là Helen. Tôi là nhà đầu tư cá nhân và cũng là tổng giám đốc của công ty tư vấn đầu tư cho nước ngoài, công ty Phong Thành. Hôm nay tôi vô cùng vinh hạnh được chia sẻ những kinh nghiệm của mình trong công việc tại lĩnh vực tư vấn đầu tư cho các nhà đầu tư ở tại Việt Nam, mà tôi đã đồng hành cùng những khách hàng yêu quý của tôi tới thời điểm này. Như tất cả mọi người đều biết thì đầu tư vào thị trường Việt Nam vẫn luôn là một cái lựa chọn hàng đầu cho các nhà đầu tư trên thế giới hiện nay. Nếu như mà mọi người chỉ có nghe mà không tự tận mắt để chứng kiến cái sự thay đổi chóng mặt hiện nay của nền kinh tế tại Việt Nam thì có thể là mọi người không tin, nhưng chúng ta có thể nhìn vào một con số thực tế, con số thống kê mới nhất của năm 2023 thì tại năm 2023 đã có đến 153 dự án được cấp mới và tổng vốn tăng là 1,2 tỷ USD, tăng 48,5% so với năm 2022. Đây là con số được Tổng cục Thống kê của Việt Nam thống kê năm 2023 tháng 1. Bất kỳ một nhà đầu tư mới nào mà bước chân vào Việt Nam thì đều hết sức lo lắng và băn khoăn có nên đầu tư hay không, sự bất đồng về văn hóa, ngôn ngữ, sự khác nhau về chế độ chính trị, rồi sự khó khăn trong tất cả các quá trình xin cấp phép dự án, xin cấp phép công ty, khiến cho các nhà đầu tư là rất là bối rối. Thế nhưng mà đã có chúng tôi hiểu được những cái nỗi lo lắng đó của các nhà đầu tư thì công ty chúng tôi đã được thành lập từ năm 2006 và chúng tôi nhìn nhận được rằng cái cơ hội phát triển tại Việt Nam đó là cơ hội rất lớn, và chúng tôi mong muốn được rằng chúng tôi sẽ đồng hành cùng với các nhà đầu tư để giúp các nhà đầu tư từng bước một đặt chân vào thị trường Việt Nam và có thể từng bước phát triển ổn định. Chúng tôi chia các dịch vụ của mình ra theo 3 cái nội dung chính mà theo cái nhu cầu của khách hàng. Thứ nhất, khi mà khách hàng vào Việt Nam sẽ quan tâm đến rằng là khách hàng có thể đặt chân ở đâu, nơi đâu là nơi phù hợp để khách hàng đặt chân, lựa chọn nhà máy, lựa chọn khu công nghiệp hay cụm công nghiệp ở tỉnh nào, nơi nào để có thể đảm bảo về số lượng công nhân, để có thể đảm bảo được rằng cái việc vận chuyển hàng hóa là thuận lợi. Thì cái bước đầu tiên đó là cái bước mà công ty Phong Thành chúng tôi sẽ hỗ trợ nhà đầu tư, đưa ra tư vấn cho nhà đầu tư. Chúng tôi sẽ đưa ra cái bảng phân tích rất cụ thể của các vùng miền hay các khu công nghiệp, các cụm công nghiệp, cũng như là cái mức đầu tư ở các nơi để cho các nhà đầu tư có thể hình dung và mường tượng ra được rằng cái mức đầu tư của mình sẽ phù hợp ở nơi nào, hay với một cái quy mô sản xuất, cái ngành nghề sản xuất của mình thì lựa chọn nơi nào nó sẽ là phù hợp nhất. Bước tiếp theo là khi đã lựa chọn được nơi để đặt chân rồi thì các nhà đầu tư sẽ lo lắng về cái vấn đề là vậy thì sẽ xin cấp phép công ty như thế nào, xin dự án ra làm sao, và phải làm các thủ tục gì để có thể được cấp phép công ty và được phê duyệt để thực hiện dự án. Trong bước này chúng tôi có đội ngũ chuyên môn và đào tạo một cách chính quy, đó là những luật sư làm việc tại công ty tư vấn luật BD Law và công ty tư vấn luật Louis. Louis đã có nhiều văn phòng ở các quốc gia khác nhau như là Đài Loan, Thái Lan, Nhật Bản, và năm 2023 đã bước chân chính thức mở văn phòng ở tại Hà Nội, Việt Nam. Đội ngũ của các văn phòng tư vấn luật đều là những luật sư có kinh nghiệm và có bằng cấp, sẽ hỗ trợ các nhà đầu tư tư vấn các hợp đồng hợp tác đầu tư, xin cấp phép công ty, đăng ký kinh doanh, giấy chứng nhận đầu tư, chủ trương đầu tư, phê duyệt dự án, thẩm định dự án, tất cả những vấn đề liên quan đến các cơ quan cấp phép ban ngành của Việt Nam. Thế bước thứ ba đó là gì? Khi đã và đang được xin cấp phép cho dự án rồi, được xin cấp phép cho nhà máy rồi, vậy thì vấn đề xây dựng cũng là một vấn đề rất là đau đầu của các nhà đầu tư. Cần phải tìm đến một công ty mà có năng lực về tài chính cũng như là cái trình độ chuyên môn để có thể là giúp các nhà đầu tư là thiết kế, quy hoạch nhà máy một cách hợp lý và phù hợp với cái nhu cầu sản xuất của các nhà đầu tư. Vậy thì riêng về mảng xây dựng này, công ty xây dựng DDIC và công ty xây dựng Phong Thành chính là hai doanh nghiệp mà chúng tôi có đầu tư vào, và chúng tôi có đội ngũ thiết kế, đội ngũ kỹ sư, đội ngũ kiến trúc sư chuyên nghiệp, được đào tạo chuyên nghiệp và có kinh nghiệm làm tại các công ty lớn, các công ty xây dựng lớn của Việt Nam trước đây. và đã từng xây dựng những dự án lớn cho các doanh nghiệp trong nước và ngoài nước, đã có những cái kinh nghiệm thực tế đó và hiện nay là đang làm việc cho chúng tôi. Cho nên là cái công việc thiết kế và thi công là chúng tôi trực tiếp làm, chúng tôi trực tiếp thực hiện, chứ không nhận công trình rồi bán công trình chuyển giao cho một đơn vị khác và để nhận cái chi phí hoa hồng. Đấy không phải là cách làm việc của chúng tôi. Vậy thì bên công ty Đông Đô và công ty xây dựng Phong Thành, chúng tôi người thật, việc thật, chúng tôi làm việc và chúng tôi đặt cái lợi ích của khách hàng lên đầu tiên. Chính vì vậy mà trong cái quá trình thiết kế và thi công, chúng tôi luôn luôn lấy cái lợi ích, cái mong muốn của khách hàng làm trung tâm và chúng tôi đưa ra các giải pháp làm sao mà hiệu quả nhất cho khách hàng, chi phí tiết kiệm và mà vẫn phải đạt được cái nhu cầu của khách hàng. Thì đấy là những cái quan niệm của chúng tôi trong cái quá trình phục vụ khách hàng. Vậy thì tôi xin chia sẻ ở đây một khách hàng và cũng là một cái dự án mà chúng tôi thực hiện ngay từ bước đầu, đó là nhà đầu tư Đài Loan. Tới thời điểm này, nhà đầu tư đã đầu tư nhà máy thứ 5 ở tại Việt Nam, và nhà máy thứ 5 đó là từ cái thời điểm xin dự án, xin cấp đất, đền bù và xin phê duyệt chủ trương, rồi đến lúc mà xây dựng nhà máy, xin cấp phép phòng cháy chữa cháy, DTM, DTM tức là đánh giá tác động môi trường đó. Toàn bộ các thủ tục này là công ty chúng tôi làm tư vấn từ thời điểm đầu tiên đến khi nhà máy có thể hoàn toàn hoạt động bình thường đến thời điểm này. Và đây cũng chính là khách hàng mà ủng hộ chúng tôi nhiều nhất, cũng là khách hàng tin tưởng của chúng tôi. Và cũng chính vì thế mà chúng tôi cũng luôn luôn đồng hành cùng với khách hàng. Bất kỳ một cái vấn đề gì của khách hàng cũng chính là vấn đề của chúng tôi, và chúng tôi đều trong thời gian ngắn nhất có thể hỗ trợ khách hàng xử lý. Vậy thì với một cái chút thời gian ngắn ngủi như trên thì tôi cũng không thể nào mà chia sẻ hết những cái thực tế mà chúng tôi đã làm và đồng hành cùng với các nhà đầu tư. Tôi hy vọng rằng trong tương lai có một cái cơ hội được đón tiếp các nhà đầu tư ở tại Việt Nam, và chúng ta sẽ có thời gian nhiều hơn để chia sẻ với nhau những cái kinh nghiệm hay những cái trải nghiệm trong công việc, trong việc đầu tư vào Việt Nam. Việt Nam luôn luôn hoan nghênh và có rất nhiều những cơ hội để chờ đợi các nhà đầu tư đến. Vâng, tôi xin chân thành cảm ơn mọi người đã lắng nghe những chia sẻ của tôi. Chúc tất cả mọi người sức khỏe và một công việc luôn luôn thuận lợi và thành công. Xin chào và hẹn gặp lại.
Yeah, so this is an example, a company from Taiwan was established in Vietnam in 2006, and since then they have been very successful. And not only that, they have become successful, they are now helping other investors to become successful. And I think one major obstacle, as I mentioned, is that people were so worried about, how to overcome those obstacles, such as license, land rights, that kind of thing. But this is one example that, there are companies in Vietnam who can help you to go through all this process and become successful. So we just want to show you this as one example that we can draw on for some reference. Now, in the following, I'm going to invite my other good friend, Bill Tao, who represents the province of, I can never get it right. I know it's in Chinese, it's Copenhagen, right? But other than that, I think he's going to introduce the province and opportunities there. So again, I'm so grateful that he come to us and help us with this forum. So, Bill, it's your time.
Can you turn it on for me?
Hello, my name is Bill Dow. I'm a brand person of Becamex, Vietnam and Binh Duong province. Let me tell you something about Becamex, Vietnam and Binh Duong province. Binh Duong province is the biggest province in Vietnam for manufacturing, supply chain and logistics. So if you think about this point for China, when you go to China, Guangzhou, China is number one. The biggest for manufacturing, supply chain, logistics. Okay, Guangzhou for China. When you go to Vietnam, Binh Duong for Vietnam. Like Binh Duong is considered as Guangzhou of Vietnam. I'll put that way so you can picture it. So most of the manufacturing company they stay in Binh Duong province. Nowadays, if you go to Best Buy, Canada, Walmart, Nike store, Walmart, outlet mall, sorry, in Richmond, you buy shoe, jacket, shirt, you say made in Vietnam. So most of them made in Binh Duong province. Okay, Puma, Timberland, Nike, Adidas, made in Binh Duong province. So, and Becamex is provincial company funded by Binh Duong province. We are the biggest industrial park developer and operator in Southeast Asia. We have 16 industrial parks from the north to the south Vietnam. Beside the Becamex industrial park system, we also do a joint venture with Sembcorp Singapore to produce the Vietnam-Singapore Industrial Park. We call VSIP. So the VSIP system we have from the north to the south too. So it's everywhere. So Mr. Trung today give you a picture, a macro picture about Vietnam. So I'm going to give you a micro picture, the information that as investor you need that. Okay. So this is my face, my number, contact number. Okay. So ASEAN Vietnam. So now if you go to invest in Vietnam, so never think that you go to Vietnam for Vietnam market. You go to Vietnam for Vietnam and 9 other markets, 9 other countries in Southeast Asia, like Thailand, Indonesia, Philippines, Malaysia, Cambodia, Myanmar, Laos, Singapore. Why? Because Vietnam we signed FTA within the ASEAN community, okay, with the 9 other countries. So we call it AEC. AEC stands for ASEAN Economic Community. So all the region with a population of 700 million people, it's about 20 times Canadian population, 20 times. We have 40, right? So now, if you come here, now Vietnam got a CPTPP with Canada and 10 other countries. So you add on this one. So when you go to Vietnam to manufacture something, some product, you bring parts from Canada to Vietnam, the parts come to Vietnam, you have to pay no tax, zero import duty. You produce the product in Vietnam to make it become finished product. You export to those 9 countries and plus Vietnam domestically. So that your buyer over there pay zero import duty. That makes Vietnam product to be more competitive than Taiwanese, Australian, Korean, Japanese product. So that's what I mean. Okay. So Vietnam right here, we have 100 million people. We have 145% of Vietnamese people use mobile phones. So a lot of Vietnamese people own 2 phones. 2 mobile phone number. So we've signed 16 FTA, free trade agreement that help foreign investor to sell more products if they produce product in Vietnam. Okay, we sign FTA with AEC, with ASEAN. We sign FTA with European Community. We sign FTA with Japan and South Korea. Okay, so we are the 3rd country of ASEAN group in terms of startup ecosystem. And we have a strong support for high-tech business. And the third high-tech park is in Binh Duong province. So Vietnam, we enable government, we launch in the enable government, and we support the industry 4.0 And we've done a lot of smart city. Bình Dương is the first city that did a smart city about 10 years ago. And we have a huge growing market. We are in a community of 10 countries with a free tax area. And nowadays, with the US-China trade war and a potential China-Taiwan trade war, so many foreign manufacturing companies use Vietnam as China +1. So they still keep the factory in China, but they open a second factory in Vietnam. So the people do not put one egg in one basket. You know what I mean, right? So APEC, within APEC, it takes you 5 hours. You fly everywhere in Asia. So we're in the center of Asia. Okay, this is, you like it very, very much. Okay, I'm going to tell you something about it. So Vietnam, we are in Southeast Asia, but we give you a lot more tax incentive when you come to Vietnam. Okay, let's say if you come to Vietnam to produce food, for example, garment, shoe, bag, machinery equipment, you get 2 years of tax exemption. First 2 years, no tax. Okay, you make money. The government of Vietnam say no, you don't need to pay tax, no tax for first 2 years. And the next 4 years, you have 50% tax reduction. Okay, you pay only 50% tax reduction only. Okay, so if you go to Vietnam to produce the high-tech products like semiconductor, chip, foam, parts for foam, high precision, you got 4 years of tax exemption. You got 9 years of 50% tax reduction. Okay, so the more high tax you go, the less tax you pay. Yeah, this is what I mean. Okay, so labor cost. So now, with the people as investor, when you go to Vietnam, you compare the labor because the labor is a very important component, right? Very important component. So we compare Vietnam with Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, Cambodia. So we lower, of course, we have a low labor cost in China. We have low labor cost in Thailand. We have lower than Malaysia, of course, lower than in Singapore as well. So the labor cost that help you to save a lot of expenses, and that make your product to be more competitive that way. Okay, so as a buyer, as a seller, as an investor, so you will think about how to set up a company in Vietnam, how to set up an office in Vietnam to help you to run your business, to help you to be onshore, to help you to be more ready, right? So we have 4 steps to set up a company in Vietnam, a rep office in Vietnam. Step 1, we call it pre-investment approval. Or you have 4 steps. These 4 steps also apply for you to set up a factory in Vietnam. Step 1, you do a pre-investment approval. You get approval from pre-investment. Step 2, you apply for investment registration certificate. We call the IRC. Step 3, we call application for enterprise registration certificate. Step 4, we do the post-licensing procedure. So each step, you have a couple works to do, a couple things to do. So if you want to know more, you can see me. I can give you free consultation later on. You'll stay over to get my business card. Okay. Now, the previous one, this one is for you to set up a factory in Vietnam. Factory, okay, manufacturing facility. And this one, it helps you to set up a rep office in Vietnam. Some company, they are more careful. They come to Vietnam as a seller first, to sell the product first, to see how it goes, to know more about the market, to get some business contact in Vietnam, Southeast Asia. So you can set up a rep office, okay? But nowadays, less people set up a rep office. They set up a company. So for rep office, there's a couple steps you have to do, but very simple. You apply for application include, you apply for business license. You bring the business license and chart up your mother company, legalized by Vietnam Consulate in Vancouver. So you have to bring the license from your mother company here. to do legalization at the Vietnam Consulate in Vancouver. Okay, so you have to do this step first. You have to see Mr. Trung. Okay, and step two, you bring the document of mother company authorizing the head of rep office or country manager. So the president here in Canada had to sign a letter and say, okay, I appoint you to be a country manager or to be a GM, a CEO of Vietnam. So you bring a letter to Vietnamese government. Okay. And then step three, you have to prepare on audited financial report or document in the latest fiscal year. So normally Vietnam, they ask you to submit the financial report audited in last 3 years. 3 years ahead. They want to make sure you have no financial problem before they allow you to set up a company, a rep office in Vietnam. Okay. And step two, of course, if you have to submit the passport or ID card of your country manager, the person that you appoint to be a country manager. Okay. And step five, you show the Vietnamese government the rental contract of your office. Okay. So they want to know where your office will be. You have to show them a contract. That's easy. Okay. Okay. Now you have a factory in Vietnam. You have a rep office in Vietnam. How do you send an expat to Vietnam to work? In order to send an expat to Vietnam to be CEO, to be a GM, to be a supervisor, to be a production manager, what kind of document you need to have and what procedure you have to go through. So for foreign investor, if you're an investor, you can get a 5-year temporary resident card by Vietnam Department of Immigration. Okay. For foreign worker, like normal worker at a factory, like production supervisor manager, you're also allowed to bring to Vietnam too. And for this type of worker, they kind of middle skill or low skill people. So they give you 2 years only. 2 years work permit only. That's the difference between highly skilled worker and middle skill and low skill worker. So we know that we receive foreign investment. We need experienced people from China, from Canada to go there to teach the Vietnamese worker how to do the work, right? So that's why we accept this point. Okay, not like Canada. Canada don't accept a lot of low skilled worker now, right? Okay, so the work permit looks like that. Okay, so in order to get a 5 years work permit, so you've got to the applicant must have a bachelor degree from a university college and 5-year work experience, and they have clean criminal record. Okay, so this is the procedure to apply for the form. You apply for the work permit for 5 years and 2 years. So you can talk to me more after the event. I can tell you more. Okay, so I know that now I passed through the Vietnam in Ho Chi Minh City. Now I go to Binh Duong province. Binh Duong province, we have the same border with Ho Chi Minh City. Okay. Nowadays, the point is that in Ho Chi Minh City, because the land become a lot more expensive, so they cannot do the land clearance to make a factory like in Vancouver. Let's say if you want to have a factory in Vancouver, you cannot. You have to go to Surrey, Langley, Pitt Meadow, Chilli Walk, Abbotsford. You cannot have a land in Vancouver to have a factory because the land in Vancouver is more expensive than the land we sell to the factory. It's not commercial land anymore, right? The same thing in Vietnam. So let's say if you want to have an investment in Ho Chi Minh City, of course, you go to Binh Duong province because it's next door. Okay. This is how before when you want to, this is Ho Chi Minh City. Okay, this is Binh Duong province. See, we have the same border. Okay, before, long time ago, if you want to go to Binh Duong from Binh Duong province to Ho Chi Minh City airport, you have to go around Ho Chi Minh City and onto Binh Duong. So we build up many ring road 2, ring road 3, ring road 4, so it can bring you to the airport and the seaport easily. Seaport right here. Long Thành, Long Nai, deep sea port. So you don't have to go through Ho Chi Minh City, because before you have to go through Ho Chi Minh City and the bottleneck in Ho Chi Minh City, and you have to get out Ho Chi Minh City by the highway Thủ Đức. So a bottleneck over there. So it take a lot more time. So now it take a lot less time. So now Bình Dương, we have 29 industrial park. Bình Dương itself, 29 industrial park. Okay, so the whole country we have 300 industrial park. Bình Dương itself have 29 industrial park. You know how many industrial park we have? We have a big percentage of industrial park in the whole country. We have we attract $37 billion in FDI, so that's why we rank number 2. And we our export volume almost $30 billion export volume. So we make shoe, cashew nut, garment, electronics that we export to foreign countries. So we have a big volume of export compared to other provinces. We are the number 2 now after Ho Chi Minh City. And we have a lot of industrial cluster. Okay. We attract investment FDI from 65 countries. So Becamex, we have 3,000 tenants in Becamex. Inside the industrial park, we have 3,000 factories. So each factory, they produce, different products from 65 countries. So in Bình Dương, we got, we are doing a triple helix model. We utilize the strength, the benefit, the strength from government, from business, and from university. So we use the strength, we use benefit, from the 3 forces to make Bình Dương develop like nowadays. Okay, so we have Bình Dương have a strategic location. We have integrated infrastructure. As I said before, we build all street, all highway that connect to Bình Dương, to Đồng Nai province to the east, Tây Ninh province to the west, and Ho Chi Minh City, and also Bình Phước to the north. So Bình Dương is well connected now. So in the near future, we have SkyTrain that connect Ho Chi Minh City to Bình Dương, connect Binh Thành Market, you've been to Binh Thành Market to Bình Dương. So it takes you only 12 minutes to go to work compared to now it takes you 15 minutes. Okay. We have, you see that why we have a strategic location. You look at the map, you see that Ho Chi Minh City right there, down here, okay, the blue dot and the light blue dot in Bình Dương province. You see that we're in the center of the area called Southern Economic Zone. Southern Key Economic Zone. We're in the center. So we have Bình Phước province in the north. We have Tây Ninh in the northwest. We have Long An, okay, in the west. We have Tiền Giang. We have Đồng Nai to the east. So we're right in the center. It's very good location. So we are only 30 kilometers from the Tân Sơn Nhất Airport, SGN Saigon Airport. We only 40 kilometers from a deep sea port. So if you produce a product here in Bình Dương province and you want to export to foreign market, so from your factory to the port only 40 kilometers. It's like from Vancouver to Surrey, right? Same distance. We are about 30 kilometers from Binh Thành Market. I think the job will be the Binh Thành Market many times. Okay, let's tell you some progress. That Bình Dương, we go from the production cluster about 40 years ago. And after that, in 1996, we make industrial park in Bình Dương at the early stage. Okay, at the 1990s, so we signed a big agreement with the Singapore company, Semcorp, to build up the Vietnam-Singapore Industrial Park. Okay, so this is the ranking of all industrial park company in Vietnam. So Becamex number one in term of market share. We have 65% of market share for industrial park or business park in Vietnam. 65%. Okay, and this is how we make these steps. Okay, long time ago to make Bình Dương become the second biggest economy in Vietnam nowadays. Okay, just after Ho Chi Minh City, and the second location to attract foreign investment nowadays. Okay, this is all of our public transport. We have bus system like Vancouver, and our bus system is very punctual, like the one in Vancouver and Richmond. Okay, so because we do a joint venture with Japanese transportation company called Tokyo. Okay, to the bus system, we have to prepare that because in the future we will have the Sky Grand Station right in Binh Dương province. Okay, this is our bus system. Okay, our own bus. This is a joint venture between Becamex and Tokyo. We call Tokyo bus system. And this is, this show you all the highway, freeway from Bình Dương province to other part of the Bình Dương and also to Ho Chi Minh City, to Tân Sơn Nhất Airport and to Long Thành Airport, the new airport in the future. You see that wherever you go, you always have highway, freeway that connect you from Bình Dương to other place, other location, like airport, seaport. It's very convenient. Okay, so Becamex not only own the industrial park or business park, Becamex also own the university. We own the university called Eastern International University, EIU. The EIU is the only university in Bình Dương, Binh Phuc province that use English to train students. We must have a university because we have a few thousand tenants, a few thousand manufacturing companies. So a lot of them need a highly skilled staff like manager, sales manager, marketing manager, GM. So those people must have a good soft skill and hard skill. So we use a university to train those people and to provide to the investor to attract them, to keep them. Otherwise, we do not want them to employ the people from Ho Chi Minh City, because if they employ the people from Ho Chi Minh City, they have to use bus in the morning to bring the people from Ho Chi Minh City to Bình Dương. That increase their cost, and the people keep jumping. After they working for a couple of years, they want to go back to the city, and we lose people. Our investor lose people. We do not want that to happen in the Duong province. That's why we have a university there. And we also have the incubator, the Becamex business incubator inside the university. Okay, so if you go to incubator, you see a lot of startup company inside the incubator. Okay, and Bình Dương, we're the first city in Vietnam that did a smart city 9 years ago. For the smart city, we worked with Holland and Philips to do a smart city. So we were ranked the top 7 of smart city last year. So we received an award in Columbus, Ohio. Okay, we have a lot of workshop, and we have a business incubator, and we also a smart manufacturing center. The smart manufacturing center is for some manufacturing company that want to go to Vietnam, but they're not ready to bring a lot of investment yet. They want to go there to place an order, to place sample, to ask them to produce some product for them, because they don't want to know the skill of Vietnamese worker. They want to know that how Bình Dương government welcome them. They want to know about market, so they can use our workshop first to produce the product. There's some company we receive some Boeing supplier. They provide Boeing with parts, high precision. Okay, so but they said maybe they think that at that time was down season of a downturn of economy because of COVID, and they said that it's not time to bring investment yet. Okay, let's try to work first to see how to see more about the skill of Vietnamese people. So they bring the sample to the workshop, to the smart manufacturing. They ask them to produce some product for them. So when their volume become bigger, okay, so it's like, okay, now it's time to do investment in Binh Duong province. You know, they did that because they think that it's less risky. Okay, so this is our chart that we combine the workforce from many sectors. Okay, you know, World Trade Center, right? The World Trade Center is a big organization. We have the World Trade Center everywhere. So the headquarters in New York. So the World Trade Center of Vietnam is placed at Becamex complex, Binh Duong province. So what do we do? We do with the World Trade Center. We do business matching. We do consulting services like the World Trade Center in Vancouver. Okay, and we do membership system. We do WTC complex. We also have a building. We rent out the office. We have a lot of office for rent, building for rent, office for rent, and we do training and education, and we do trade information like the World Trade Center in California, in Austin, in Denver, in San Francisco. Yeah. This is our, you know, this is show you something about our World Trade Center in Binh Duong province. Okay. And I said that because we own a lot of industrial parks, so we have combined the force from three key components. We get the force from support from a university. We get support from Science Tech Industrial Park. We get support from a university town. And the second of the Science and High Tech Park will be in Binh Duong province. The first high tech park in Ho Chi Minh City, we call Saigon High Tech Park, sold out, no space, no land. Okay, so if the foreign company want to go to the south, the only way they have to go to Binh Duong Science Tech Industrial Park. Okay, this is our smart manufacturing innovation center. The one I told you before that you can go here to place an order to test out the market. This is our the German government, okay, aid Binh Duong province with a university called Vietnam German University. So Vietnam German University also in Binh Duong province too. So they work they also work with the Eastern International University. So okay, so now Becamex we do a lot. Some partnership. Our partnership is well known in Asia. We work with Semcorp. We do joint venture with Semcorp to build a system called Vietnam Singapore Industrial Park, VSIP. We work with Robert Pincus to build the Ready Build Factory, RBF. Okay, what the RBF for? Some company, foreign company, they want to go to Vietnam, but they want to test out the market first. Okay, they want to get the market first. They want to get into the Southeast Asia market first. So they want to do the test out stay or period. They do not want to bring a big amount of money to buy the land to fit up a factory. Okay, they say, oh, they think I need to test our market for 3 years, for 4 years before I build up my own factory. Okay, so we have solutions for them. We build the factory for them and we rent the factory to them. We call it RBF. RBF stand for Ready Build Factory. So they do not put a lot of investment as a first step to Vietnam. You got my point? Yeah. So the RBF, we do a joint venture with Robert Pincus. It's the investment fund from New York. So last year we visit the Robert Pincus in New York, in Manhattan. We work with the Tokyo Corporation to build Japantown. The Japantown is Binh Duong province, in our province. We work with Tokyo to build a high-rise building. We work with Tokyo to build a bus system that connect from SkyTrain station to the big area in Binh Duong province. We work with NTT Japan to build up the big cable system for TV cable system, and internet for the home province, and phone. So when you go to Binh Duong province, you do not use a system of VNPT, but you use system of NTT, Japanese quality telecommunication. Okay, so I base here. I have my office in Surrey for Canada, my another office in Seattle for US market. So if you have any question, if you need any free consultation advice, so please come to see me. Today I brought over 500 companies to Vietnam. Dan on Food, Dandy Park is the one I brought him to Vietnam 13 years ago. I first met Dandy Park here in 2010. And now Dandy Park have 3 factories in Vietnam. So that's he always become our testimonial speaker. This me, my picture. Make sure don't forget me. Okay, contact me and get any information. Thank you just for my presentation. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much. And I think I have to say that the real person is more handsome than the picture. Now, Bill, you made me feel guilty for two reasons. I've been to Vietnam so many times, but I feel guilty that I haven't been to province, right? So I promise you, next time when I go there, I have to visit your province. And secondly, I want you all of you know that actually Bill's mom is not feeling well; she's sick, and because he made the commitment to come to speak to us, he honored his commitment today. So I think you may feel guilty, but I think we should give him another round of applause. To this very outstanding, impressive presentation. Now, so we have about 20 minutes to go, and I would like to open up the time for Q&A.
I'm sorry. I forgot to. I'm sorry. I have one more thing. I'm gonna summarize my presentation with a very beautiful video clips about Vietnam. So Vinh, can you turn on the light system? Vinh, can you turn on light system, please? I'm gonna make this room become a cinema. Okay. To watch the video clips. I'm sorry.
Sure, yeah.
Located at the with strong GDP growth rate, Vietnam is emerging to become a manufacturing powerhouse of Asia. Located at the center of the Southern Key Economic Region and adjacent to Ho Chi Minh City, Binh Duong is the industrial hub of the country. With outstanding infrastructure and open investment policy, Binh Duong is leading in attracting FDI, being the sister city with many innovative cities such as Eindhoven, Daejeon, and Yamaguchi. Becamex is proud to be a key driver of Binh Duong's dynamic development. With our core business and industrial park development, we are the leading industrial infrastructure developer in Vietnam. In 1996, Becamex was selected by the governments of Vietnam and Singapore to develop the first VSIE, pioneering with one-stop services, creating favorable conditions for investors. After more than 30 years, Becamex has developed an extensive network of industrial parks throughout Binh Duong and across the country. Becamex is the leading industrial urban real estate developer in Vietnam, providing integrated solutions for investors. All industrial parks of Becamex are well planned and built, meeting ISO standards, technical infrastructure, service infrastructure, social infrastructure. Becamex has built a comprehensive ecosystem to meet the growing needs of investors. All industrial parks are developed in integration with urban areas and services, creating ideal living, working environments for residents and investors. Becamex is developing transport infrastructure connecting our industrial parks with seaports and airports, National Highway 13 expansion, Nifo Van Highway, and other strategic connections. BWID provides ready-built factories, rental services, modern logistics warehouses, enables efficient supply chain for investors. Nifo Hospital and Becamex International Hospital meet international standards, serving the healthcare needs of residents in Binh. Eastern International University focuses on connecting with businesses and partnering with world-leading universities in high-quality human resource development and training. VNTT is a telecom and IT infrastructure service provider meeting international standards. Becamex is a trusted partner of leading international corporations. Semcorp in industrial infrastructure, Tokyo in urban infrastructure, Warburg Pincus in logistics infrastructure and cross-border e-commerce, NTT in telecom and IT infrastructure. Key programs in Becamex's development strategy. Binh Smart City, a breakthrough project of Binh, is strongly accompanied by Becamex in creating an innovation ecosystem. Binh has been honored in Smart 21 for 3 consecutive years and is Vietnam's first global top 7 with smart city development strategies voted by the ICF World Smart Community Forum. Binh Innovation Region is the next development model of Binh Smart City. It's an interdisciplinary strategy that includes TOD urban planning, innovative culture, balanced economy, digital transformation, and Industry 4.0 and a high-quality workforce. Strategic projects in pipeline. Binh New City at the heart of the innovation region is developing to become industrial city, servicing surrounding industrial markets, science and technology city, attracting scientific research, technology transfer, a livable city, attracting high-quality human resources, a vibrant destination of international events. World Trade Center, Binh New City, is a multifunction center with a variety of facilities and services. It's also the central station connecting Binh with Duong City and Van Sui Tien Metro Line, promoting the development of TOD urban chains around public transport hubs. Connecting with more than 300 WTCs from 100 countries, WTC Binh New City is a gateway for international trade, promoting services and commerce, and improving the economic structure of the province. Vietnam's first cross-border e-commerce logistics center will be established in Binh New City. This will be a pilot model for new customs regulations, a technology platform connecting the state and businesses, and a cluster of logistics facilities for e-commerce. The innovation and startup ecosystem is being developed to comprehensively support technology research and development, commercialization, and startup activities. The ecosystem includes the Becamex Research and Development Institute of Science and Technology, Tech Labs, Fab Labs, Smart Manufacturing Innovation Center, Becamex Business Incubator, Pilot Manufacturing Factory, and Block 71 Saigon, Becamex's strategic partnership with the National University of Singapore, connecting Vietnam's tech startup ecosystem with the world. We are working with partners to develop a smart logistics corridor, including waterways with river ports and railway systems to enhance interregional connectivity, maximize infrastructure capacity, reduce logistics costs of enterprises. Science and Technology Industrial Park is the next generation of industrial parks, envisioning to become an innovation center of the Southern Key Economic Region with 4 main functional clusters: innovation, advanced production, recreation, and living cluster. It will attract technology and knowledge-intensive projects, converge supporting ecosystem for innovation activities, training, R&D, technology transfer, diffuse to elevate conventional industrial parks in the region. Becamex is the leading industrial urban real estate developer in Vietnam. Our industrial park ecosystem offers investors and skilled workforce an attractive destination in their journey to create prosperity and sustainable value for the community. Come and join us. Becamex, IDC, driving innovation, accelerating growth.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Wow, this is really impressive. Now, okay, I'm sorry that we have less than 10 minutes, but I think still, we need to open up for some questions. And of course, this is only the beginning. We can always address your questions at a later stage. But at this time, is there any burning question? People would like to ask any questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
So for the working, they are all well, 5 years, right? Can they renew?
Repeat the question.
Yes, after 5 years, you can renew your work permit as long as your project is still there. Okay, so let's say if your project's over, you cannot renew it. But if your project's still there, the company is still running, of course you can renew it. The renewal is easier than the new application. Yes, yes.
Someone gets cannot graduate first, they cannot get a 5 years.
No. If because CEO is considered as a highly skilled people, in order to get a 5 years, you must have a bachelor degree, 4 years university degree. Yeah. Otherwise, get 2 years only. For my case, there's a lot of people, a lot of investors, they have a lot of experience, but they do not have bachelor degree. You can get a 2 years for them, and you can renew every 2 years. You can do it, okay? But you get a work permit for the low skilled people for 2 years. Okay, the government, they don't care where you put them into. You can put them a production or as the CEO, they don't care as long as they have a work permit. Yeah.
So any more questions?
What's the hourly wage then?
Oh, we in Vietnam we do not do hourly wage. We do monthly wage, monthly salary. So we do not do hourly wage like you.
What is the running rate for labor work, like for people if you hire, if you have a factory there?
At the moment, the monthly salary for the production people, let's say low skilled people, is about $250 a month.
Yes.
US dollar a month. US dollar a month. Yes, it's very low. It's a lot lower than Thailand and China. It's about 1/2 of China, 50% of China. Yes.
Any question, sir? For food products? You said you want to have a question for cashew nut?
I have one more question.
Okay.
Regarding the real estate investment there, if you are doing a construction, if you buy a land and you build like the housing development, what kind of subsidy or help you get through the government?
Okay.
Not in the tax department, because you explained on the tax side, but what other help? Like, is there any other foreigners coming in investing there?
Yes. If you rent a land, let's say if you rent a 10-hectare land, for example, just give you a number, okay, and you can use 5 hectares out of 10 to build a factory, and use other 5 hectares to build a housing for the workers. So according to Vietnamese law, the foreigner is only allowed to use the land for 50 years, 50. Okay, you're allowed to lease 50 years maximum. But after 50 years over, you have a priority to renew another 50 years. Okay, this is a good point. This is the one point good. The Vietnamese government is very special. If you're allowed to lease 50 years, let's say if you're 20 years down the road, okay, you have 30 years left, you're still able to sell your lease. When you sell your lease, okay, the buyer have to pay you at the current market price, not the price you bought 20 years ago. You can sell the lease, no problem. And and later the lease always higher. Let's say 10 years later down the road, you sell the lease, you always make money because the land lease always go up, because property price always go up, keep going up. Now Vietnam is still going up faster because China, US trade problem. So yes, you can do it. You're allowed to do it.
So it was like a 50% growth on the real estate market.
Mhm.
That's what I saw on the board there. In residential versus commercial, what is the commercial growth and do you have a breakdown on that? What was the growth for in the real estate side of it?
I'm sorry, I didn't get your point. Can you ask in another way?
Pricing wise,
Yes.
from before and after, right now after COVID,
Uh-huh.
what's the price growth for commercial in a percentage?
Uh-huh.
And what's the price growth in a residential?
Oh. The price growth rate for residential a lot faster. It's faster than commercial. Because number one, most of residential projects inside the city, Ho Chi Minh City. The second thing is that it's been there for a long time. The price per square meter for residential is a lot higher, right? So even though it has a lower percentage growth rate, but it becomes more expensive. Okay, so the growth rate for the price for commercial real estate, it also grow, okay, but a lower, so a lot lower, because the government keep that low because they want to attract the foreign investment. Yes, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So with that, I will bring this forum to closure. I don't know what is your take of this forum, but I think two things really impressed me. I think the first one is that the saying goes, the sky is the limit. So I think the presentation today shows that there's a huge potential in Vietnam. So the sky is the limit. And secondly, as the Consul General mentioned, I've been to Vietnam, as I mentioned, since 2014, and I've seen the changes in the growth. And I don't want to use the word miss the boat, but I've seen things and the cost has gone up so much. And as the Consul General mentioned, there's still a lot of opportunities. It's never too late. So the sky is the limit and it's never too late. So those are the two things that I got from today's forum. And I know that you must have other questions or you want to get more information. And as I mentioned in the beginning, this is only the first event that the association, the new association, is going to offer. And we hope that you can stay connected, and we are going to plan for other activities. Perhaps, some business matching or even delegations to Vietnam. So we are thinking of having a delegation to Vietnam sometime in October. So this is in the planning. So stay tuned, stay connected, and we'll give you more information when the time comes and we are more ready. But as a first event at the beginning, I want to thank the Consul General, my good friend Bill, for making such a wonderful presentation to us. And also thank all of you for coming. I think that I hope that this would give you a better understanding of what Vietnam can offer to you. And with that, I would say thank you for coming, and I wish everybody a very happy Canada Day. Thank you.